Our father was one of the founding fathers of hip-hop. He helped revolutionize what was a young art form for the Black community and the world. I'm honored to share his name and his dedication to Black music, creativity, self-expression, and Black freedom. I love you, Mima. Thanks for teaching us who Christopher Wallace was as a son, friend, poet, artist, and father.
Biggie's own son just dropped a bomb on the world, and now everything we thought we knew about Faith Evans, Diddy, and Biggie's death is being questioned, because what CJ Wallace just revealed makes it really hard to keep believing the official story.
Christopher George Latour Wallace, AKA the Notorious B.I.G., AKA Biggie Smalls, AKA Frank White, AKA the King of New York.
In interviews and online posts, CJ has made it clear he's not buying the reason about Biggie's life or death anymore. He started hinting at fake love inside the family, and that phrase hit hard. Because when someone like CJ starts talking about fake family, you know there's more under the surface. He's mentioned how people in Biggie's circle acted like they cared, but didn't fight for the truth after Biggie died. He said he was raised around a lot of energy that didn't feel right. Energy that felt forced, dishonest, and cold. And when he brings that up, people wonder, who's he really talking about? Some fans think it's Diddy. Others think he's looking at Faith Evans, his own mother. Because over the years, CJ has dropped little clues that his relationship with Faith hasn't always been solid. He's even suggested that he had to learn the truth on his own, not from his family. And now that he's older, it's like he's looking back at everything with fresh eyes. He sees the money, the fame, the tributes, but he also sees silent secrets and people who cashed in after Biggie's demise while leaving the justice part behind. CJ isn't just grieving a father anymore, he's questioning the entire story he was raised on. And the first name that comes up is Faith Evans. So Faith met Biggie Smalls in 1994 at a Bad Boy Records photo shoot. A few days later, they were married. At the time, she was a rising R&B star and Diddy had just signed her. She was the first woman on Bad Boy, handpicked by Puff himself, and Biggie was the label's breakout rapper. To some, it looked like love at first sight, but to others, it started to look more like industry matchmaking. Why would two people who barely knew each other get married so fast, especially two young artists at the start of their career? And the marriage wasn't smooth either. There were public fights, cheating rumors, and long stretches where they didn't even live together. In fact, CJ was born in the middle of all that tension. Faith and Biggie weren't exactly a happy couple when he died. Still, when Biggie passed, Faith took the role of grieving widow. She leaned into that image and fans believed it for years. But looking back, especially with CJ questioning things, it feels different. And that's when the story takes a left turn. Because after Biggie's death, Faith's choices only got more suspicious.
When you ask Faith how long her and Biggie was together before they got married, the story changes every time. It was 10 days, it was 20 days, it was this days, it was that days.
Let's talk about the night Biggie passed away. He was in Los Angeles, a city he didn't even want to be in. Biggie had doubts about going to the West Coast because of all the heat from the East versus West beef. But Diddy insisted it was all about promoting the new album, and Puff convinced Biggie it was safe. So Biggie flew out, he went to a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum, and we all know what happened after that. He was gunned down in his SUV in a drive-by shooting. To this day, the case remains unsolved. But here's the thing, Faith Evans wasn't there. People always found that strange. If she was his wife, why didn't she travel with him? Why wasn't she by his side at such a time, especially when tensions were so high? And that's where things get darker. Jaguar Wright once claimed that Faith knew Biggie was going to die that night. According to Jaguar, Faith had been told in advance, and she stayed away for a reason. That claim alone is wild. But what makes it worse is the rumor that Faith admitted she was told to lie about certain details. Now, Jaguar Wright has said a lot of things about a lot of people, but this story was different. Because CJ himself has echoed the feeling that he wasn't told the truth. He's even said that over the years, he heard different versions of what happened and none of them matched. And that brings us to a moment that really shook fans. In 2018, Faith shocked the world by marrying Stevie J. Now, for most people, it was just another celebrity headline. But when you look closer, that marriage sent shockwaves not just through fans, but straight to Biggie's son, CJ Wallace, because Stevie J wasn't just anybody. He was Diddy's longtime friend, a key member of the Bad Boy family, and someone who had been around since the early days. He produced songs for Biggie, and to top it all off, he was CJ's godfather. Let that sink in. Stevie had been in CJ's life since he was born, and suddenly this man, someone who should have been like an uncle or mentor, turns around and marries CJ's mother without even telling him. CJ found out like the rest of us on social media. Imagine that. Your dad is murdered under suspicious circumstances. You grow up around the people who were closest to him looking for answers. And then years later, your own godfather marries your mom and nobody says a word to you? That's not just betrayal. It showed the distance between him and Faith. It showed he wasn't part of the inner circle anymore, if he ever really was. So what does that tell us? CJ wasn't just blindsided, he was hurt. And when hurt turns into suspicion, people start speaking out.
Something that y'all don't know. Breaking news, something that I've never told anybody. This is a secret, something that, will probably be in my book, but I'm telling y'all right now. The day that Biggie was killed, he wasn't supposed to be in LA. That morning, I got a call from Biggie, and I've never told anybody this in an interview or anything. I got a call from Biggie, and Biggie said, I don't want you to be mad at me, but I'm about to jerk you up. And I'm like, pause. I'm about to go left on something. That's a better word. And I'm like, what you talking about? I would always be on him about we young, black entrepreneurs, businessmen. We have to be on time. We have to be prompt. He said he was supposed to go to London. He called me, said, I'm not going to London. He's like, I just finished my album.
Now, here's where it gets even messier. Some fans believe Faith Evans wasn't just another artist on Bad Boy. They think she was part of a bigger plan, a pawn used to manipulate Biggie and later to keep her mouth shut. The theory is Faith was placed close to Biggie early on. Diddy signs her, she marries Biggie, it looks like love, but maybe it was control. And after Biggie dies, instead of fading away, Diddy keeps her close through Stevie J. Remember, Stevie wasn't just a random music producer. He was tied to Diddy, and over the years, his name has popped up in some wild rumors. Everything from freaky parties to DL whispers and deep loyalty to Puff. So when Stevie and Faith got married, fans didn't see romance. Some believe it was all about keeping Faith within arm's reach, just in case she ever thought about speaking up. And if that sounds too far-fetched, think about this. When the feds raided Diddy's homes in 2024, guess who was there? Stevie. Right in the house when the heat came down. That says a lot, because if someone's still in Diddy's house during a federal investigation, you know they're not just old friends, they're still part of the operation. Now imagine being CJ Wallace. You start to connect the dots. Your godfather marries your mom's married to your dad's old boss. That same man pushed your dad to go to LA where he died. Then 20 plus years later, that same circle is still loyal to each other, still hiding something. It's no wonder CJ started speaking out. He grew up and realized everyone around him might have been playing a part in his dad's downfall. One thing about CJ Wallace, he doesn't talk much, but sometimes silence says everything. Years ago, CJ used to post pictures with Faith, show love, and acknowledge her publicly, but lately, that energy is gone. No birthday shoutouts, no Mother's Day posts, not even subtle likes or mentions. That public bond they once had seems to have faded. Now it's all very surface level, more formal than family. Insiders close to the situation have said CJ's heart changed when he started learning the deeper history, the choices Faith made, the silence she kept, and most importantly, the answers she never gave. Some say CJ started putting things together, how Faith was missing the night Biggie died, how she later married his godfather, and how Diddy stayed connected through it all. Behind the scenes, there's talk that CJ believes his mom knew more than she ever let on. Not necessarily that she planned anything, but that she was in rooms, heard things, and stayed quiet. To a son who lost his father at just 5 months old, that silence feels like betrayal. And that may explain why the warmth is gone, why CJ's distance isn't loud, but it's real.
Now, I know your mom made sure that you stayed grounded. You went to Catholic school. How else has she influenced you, whether through your music or acting?
Oh, she's support, always giving me support, just always giving us lessons, just teaching us stuff and making sure we're making the right choices, you know?
Yeah.
Just being a mom, really.
When you zoom out from just Faith Evans, the picture gets darker. Because this isn't just about Biggie and Faith. There's a pattern that keeps coming up. Look at Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle, a strong woman connected to a powerful man who was also taken too soon under suspicious circumstances. After Nipsey's passing, Diddy was photographed close to Lauren. Go back to Kim Porter, the mother of Diddy's children. She also died unexpectedly, and before her death, reports said she was working on a tell-all book. One that never saw the light of day. It's a string of women, each tied to major figures in hip-hop, men who died young, surrounded by fame and shadowy circumstances. There's old charges, sealed files, closed investigations, messy relationships, quiet settlements, and more questions than answers. So it raises the bigger question. Is this all coincidence, or is there a blueprint? Because somehow Diddy stays close. Whether it's through business, romance, or family ties, he's always in the mix. And when the same names, the same faces, and the same patterns keep showing up, it starts to feel less like a random tragedy and more like something carefully maintained. Now we're left with one question that haunts everything we just walked through. Was Faith Evans truly in love with Biggie? Or was she used to control him, monitor him, keep him distracted? And when Biggie died, was her silence the price for staying safe or staying paid? And what about CJ? He is finally speaking up. And with Diddy's empire under fire from lawsuits to federal raids, the people closest to Biggie are starting to come out of the shadows. And maybe, just maybe, this conversation was never supposed to happen. But now that CJ's cracked the door open, we're all walking through it. What's your take on this? Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe this channel for more videos.